just outside the city. It was some bullshit.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, man. When I went in October, I drove to Valdosta, Georgia. Um,
Hmm.
like I want to say I was there from, or it was like the end of September. I want to say I was there like September 25th to the beginning of October, and I drove through
Hmm.
Atlanta, and dude, the traffic was unreal.
I mean,
That's
people do not understand, dude. My brother's from LA, and like, that's the only other city I've lived in. And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, compared to LA, like, it's worse here than it is in LA." I was like, "Damn."
no way. That's good to know because we're going. My band's going on tour in February, and we're hitting Atlanta.
So
So
yeah, the
I'll,
traffic is rough, man. I can't even lie.
I'll make sure to be the one not driving on the way to Atlanta.
Have you ever have you ever gotten any accidents or anything, or is it just
Oh, dude, I just got a new car because I literally totaled mine, man.
oh
Fucking like 2 weeks ago. On Instagram when I posted that picture of that car, that was actually my new one.
oh damn?
But that
What
was
did
just some
happen
shit,
to you?
dude.
What happened?
Oh, it was raining probably. It was like the Friday before Thanksgiving, so a week before Black Friday. And I went to go help my mom out. I only get to see my mom every like month and a half, and I went to go help her out with some shit at her new house. And I rounded the corner on an exit, which is already on like a decline, like a downward slope. And when I rounded it in the rain, like it's like a blind turn. So there was an accident in front of it. Cars stopped, and then I was coming around, and I hit a pickup truck because even though I slammed on my brakes, it just skidded going down in the rain like that.
So the accident caused your accident.
Dead ass. There was an accident in front. Three cars stopped, and then like the pickup truck that was stopped because of the accident in front was what I hit. I mean, I wasn't even going over 40, but there was no way I was gonna stop. And to be honest, when I hit my brakes like that in the rain, it kind of, if anything, it made me kind of go faster into the car, which was some shit.
Yeah, man, that's wild. I'm glad you're not like hurt or anything though. But it sucks
Yeah.
about your car. So you got a new car then?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was just talking to my bro, like, bro, like that's what I be talking about, like the universe with a plan, dude. Because my new car, bro, this shit is hard. It's so hard. So I had an Audi A4 2009. This one's a 2012 A5, and I mean it's smooth, dude. Still
Oh,
drop top. Love it.
dude, I got a 2005 Toyota Camry, dude. Like,
Dude,
I got
Hey, man, it's
go.
job done, bro. That's all that matters.
I got a
I got
Jag,
that.
bro.
I
Like,
got that '06 Honda Element, bro. That's a mom's car.
I used to have like a really nice BMW, but it just I think I put more than like $15,000 into that thing over time. It just kept breaking down and it's a BMW, so it was
Oh,
just
dude, that was the next thing I was gonna say too, is because with an Audi, dude, those German cars, I don't give a fuck what people say. They're not built for this market.
no, they're not. And
Well,
I loved that car though. I mean, I felt super cool in it and would drive all the time around with my friends because my other friends in New York, they a lot of them were Dominican and they loved like BMWs and Audis, Volkswagen,
mm,
all of those kind of cars. And finally, like after my BMW broke down, I had like a I had a 2000 Dodge Caravan I bought off a dude for like $500, and it was
Did it
mm,
drive?
bro, it barely drove. I would like I would be scared driving that car. Like the shocks and struts were so blown out. Every time you hit something, the van would like hop in the air. And finally, it like
no.
died within like 7 months of me having it. And then I finally bought this Toyota Camry from this dude in Ohio, and I had to do a bunch of work to it. New exhaust, new gas tank, because it was in New York you get so much rust. There's like the rust eats away
Mhm.
the cars horribly, and the Toyota Camry, it had like only 60,000 miles on it though, and hardly any miles. He only wanted 3 grand for it, so I bought it, brought it back to New York, put new exhaust, new gas tank, new muffler, new everything. I had to put a new catalytic converters on it. But now it drives like a brand new car. Like, it drives super smooth. Like, it got me. I drove all the way to Georgia to Valdosta near Jacksonville, Florida, and then from there I drove to Kansas after that. So both were about 20-hour trips. Dude, the scariest city, by the way, and I'm from New York, right? The scariest the scariest city I've ever been in my entire life was Memphis, Tennessee.
Really?
I drove.
Oh, that's part of the Dirty South Connect, because we have a bunch of Memphis natives here, and they've got a bunch of ATL natives. I got a lot of family in Memphis. I'm from Atlanta too, and Memphis ain't no fucking joke.
No, man, I've never when I went through Atlanta, like, the traffic was awful. Like, it was terrible, but I was able to get through, like, the main highway, pretty relatively smooth. When I drove through Tennessee, like, in Memphis, I swear to God, I thought I was gonna get killed. Like, it was like the roads were barely drivable. There was like I got pulled over like 3 times, by the way, because I had New York plates. And I was all the way down there, and but like the poverty, man, was awful. There was like buildings like destroyed everywhere. The roads were barely drivable. It would be like 75, and the potholes were massive. Like, it was a sketchy place. Like, I was legitimately scared, like, driving through Memphis, Tennessee. And I've driven through some sketch places, but like that whole city, I mean, there was some cool stuff about it. I really like Georgia's vibe. I love Georgia. Georgia's like a really beautiful state.
Oh, I love it here. Memphis is a different animal, though. It's almost amazing to me that, and I actually love Memphis, but I'm still aware of of the reality of the city, and that's just one that you're almost shocked that it's a major city, because it just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, man, it was something else. I never experienced that before, because like New York City and Brooklyn and like a lot of those areas has like its really bad areas where the poverty's awful, and like a lot of people are just living like in the streets and stuff, which sucks. But when I went through Tennessee, I kid you not, like every block had like 40 homeless people like walking.
Jeez, man.
And I was just like, what in the world is going on? And like it was just very bizarre. It was like the first time I ever like saw it like that amount. But other than that, I haven't ever been there. I didn't like spend time there. I just drove through it, drove through Atlanta. But when I drove through Atlanta, man, it was beautiful. Even with the traffic, like the area, the vibe, the city, everything. It was really just a huge place, And
I know, dude. It's stunning to live in. When you come down here for some more extended time, dude, when you really explore the city, dude, it'll take your breath away. I love it here.
In Atlanta?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are some go-tos? Because I've got to have something to do when I'm not playing music.
So when you come down here, I think so, and it's crazy because it always changes. And I did like a report for one of my classes too on like the history of Atlanta, and I had to like check myself because I was like, damn, like. Even I'm more, obviously being a resident, I'm doing more chill stuff. But when I was explaining it to as if someone was going to visit for the first time, I was like, damn, I've almost got to check like things I would have done years ago versus what you would do now, because the city's developed so much more. So I would say we have like this, and it's newer, but there's this new thing, and they put locations in Vegas and Miami as well, but they started in Atlanta, and it's called Illuminarium. And I think that's going to be like a real game changer if they do more locations around the world, because it's like this, it is so hard to explain until you see it, but it's like this 3D projection building. And essentially they like do 3D mapping from a certain amount of projectors in various rooms. And they change the theme just about every month. So like, I think for the majority of the year, it was like the African savannah, but now they're doing like this space theme. And like, you'd almost have to just look up videos to understand what I'm saying, because you won't really believe it until like you're immersed in it. So Illuminarium's one thing. I tell people all the time, go to the Coca-Cola factory, because you're not going to be able to anywhere else, because obviously the Coke headquarters are here. And like the coolest thing about that is I didn't know that every fucking country has their own Coca-Cola. So when you're in there, like you get like, it's like a Coca-Cola theme park, dead ass.
No way.
That's it. That's
all the different ones.
There's like a whole hall of like the different sodas from like Africa, Europe. Dude, it's insane.
That's pretty sweet.
that, the aquarium. We've got the biggest aquarium in the world. Everybody's always like the aquarium. If you've seen fish before, people think they've seen it, but like, I mean, I can't even. You're not really gonna be able to fathom our aquarium because, like, when they say it's the biggest in the world, it takes hours to go through.
Yeah.
I'd hit that up. And then other than that, like if it was just city stuff, even if you're not a sports fan, I would say like go to like the Battery with the Braves because it's more of like a living and shopping complex thing where you can also enjoy the game because everybody's houses is kind of like centered around that stadium.
Okay.
Stop at Phoenix Mall. The shopping's dope. And then the rest of the time, if I was new to Atlanta, I would spend some time in Midtown, like places like Centennial Park, like around where they hosted the Olympics back in the day, around the Super Bowl, because there's a lot of shit to do. But even when you're down here, Botanical Gardens, there's a bunch of stuff that you discover when you come down here.
Okay, sweet. I'll have to check some of that out because I think we're only going to be there for a day, but I want to try and cram as much and see as much as I can while we're out and about.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Do you know or do you have like already specific dates on tour for when you're gonna come down here?
Kind of. It's just a matter of whether or not the venues we're looking at can get us in.
I get you.
So we're kind of just playing, whatever local bar will let us just be idiots.
I feel you. If it's during a weekday, as long as you miss that, like, yeah, there's always traffic. But if you miss a major traffic rush, especially if it's during a weekday, man, the city's gonna be your oyster because the rest of us, we're at work, we're at class, or we're doing some other shit. So that's when I see like people who visit the most. They're typically like the happiest, and it also kind of depends on the season.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool. For sure. No, I would love to spend more time in Atlanta. Erris, I notice. So you've been really consistent with TikTok lately, and the one reason. Jordan, he's in. I don't even know if you guys talked while I was gone at all, hardly. But
No.
Jordan's in a band though called Pleaser, and they kind of had like some viral success off of Instagram. One of the reels that they posted, and Jordan even before then, he covered Ghost. Like, he was the drummer that covered Ghost on that one video, and I thought it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, cool to get together because I know that you're incredible at the drums too, Erris, and like guitar playing. And I know that you've been like really consistent with TikTok lately, and I didn't know if it was going better or if it was going good or if you're getting more momentum and people checking you out.
It's so crazy because I was just having this conversation with my best friend when we were on campus a second ago, and he's in the acting realms. So one thing he was talking about was I'm trying to do what you're doing on TikTok and just become consistent with it. And I was really big on pushing him with that. Because even looking at my music, like in 2 months, I've gained from 330 followers. And I feel like a lot of people will look at that and they'll be like, oh, well, the audience is small, or it's like, you can do higher. I've seen people do less. But for me, that 330 means a lot and it grows every single day because it's not just, like, let's put it in the context. I think social media has like warped a lot of people's perception of numbers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with 330 people, if you can envision that in a room for you, like 330 people showing up dedicated to your art or dedicated to see you, you would be happy as hell. Yeah. So I was the same way, like looking at it on TikTok. And if you go through my comments on there, they're just overwhelmingly positive, and then it'll translate to other platforms. People will reach back out to you. I've been streaming your stuff on SoundCloud all day. I checked out the music videos or everything else. And for me, like, people ask me about TikTok all the time. Obviously, Nathyn, we know what you do on TikTok, and it's been excellent. And it's like excellent success. I'm so happy every time I see you on my For You page, bro. Like, an excellent success.
Bro.
But it's a testament, and I remember TikTok used to get that heat for being a toxic app or the cringy app. I feel like it's the best platform out of all of them. Maybe I like YouTube, but in terms of accessibility and the reach it gives you, there's a reason I'm going hard on TikTok, and I'm grateful for the audience I've built so far and will continue to build.
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. I'm such a fucking meme on TikTok, bro.
It's so good though. I'm so glad that you started doing that.
It's hilarious. Justin actually just told me, he was like, bro, you should make merch where you put the caption Have you ever been make a shirt of it? Like, well, it's kind of just crazy because like, yeah, I don't know, man. I was just trying it to see because you and me, I remember back in the day, Erris, we were talking about like how Instagram was just kind of falling apart. Like, and there was just no. You actually told me that first. You were just like, dude, this platform is just dead. Like, it's not doing.
We were talking about that in class the other day too, just amongst the journalism students, and everybody's like, man, that. Essentially, the conversation was that shit is ass, and it's dying, and everybody feels like it is.
That's where I would disagree. That's where most of my success has been. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the stuff I've done or posted with Pleaser, but we get more engagement on Instagram than we do on TikTok. We got lucky and went viral on Instagram, which is insanely hard to do. Instagram, I think, is one of those apps like once you get the traction, it's just a constant rolling. Like I was telling Nathyn, I can't refresh my Instagram without having like maxed out notifications on our band account. Like it's just nonstop. It never ends. It's to the point where it's like I'm grateful for it to my core, but it is so annoying. It's so hard to get the ball rolling, and I think that's where a lot of the stigma that Instagram is dead. I think that's where that comes from, because it is hard to create on there. Like it's hard. Like you can post Insta or TikTok content on Instagram, and it won't do the same. But once you break that connection and find what works on Instagram versus what works on TikTok, and once you like dig into that pocket, it's so incredible to see your content thrive on Instagram, because we get nothing on TikTok.
Well,
absolutely nothing.
That's kind of why I wanted you in the conversation today, Jordan, too, is because like that's the thing is like my Instagram died out. It just died out. I just couldn't keep momentum. I feel like I got shadow banned or something. I don't really know. It could be because I just don't release anything until it's absolutely ready. That could be another issue. But and then I went on to TikTok and I've had incredible success from TikTok now, from literally just shit posting constantly. But most of my fans now and message requests I get on Instagram is all from TikTok, where you're the opposite, where you did actually have real success with Instagram, even in this day and age, which is incredibly hard. Now, granted, you did it off of Reels, which I would think Instagram is pushing Reels really hard because they're trying to compete with TikTok too. But I've noticed now that Erris has been really on it and consistently pushing too. Like he's gaining more followers, more people are checking out his music. And that's amazing. So it's cool to just see like both sides of it though, because like my approach is literally just spamming. It's not like and Erris is taking a lot of the approach of like Erris, I love like the clips you're doing of just me too, like how you're editing and putting together and you're talking about the song and the streams you've accumulated already on them. Like if you're just doing that consistently every single day, but like you too, man, when I started doing it, I didn't hardly get anything. Like if you scroll down to my bottom videos on TikTok, I have like 50 views, like maybe 30 views on a lot of those videos, but I just kept 3 to 5 a day, 3 to 5 a day, 3 to 5 a day, 3 to 5 a day. And it would come and go. And then out of nowhere, out of that 5, one would get like maybe 5,000 views. And I wouldn't know why, because it would be literally the copy of the same exact video. Like pretty much like it's me just fucking looking into the camera, looking like a dumbass. Like, it's just the same thing, like over and over and over again. So the algorithm has no rhyme or reason on what it like pushes and what it doesn't. And that's kind of what I learned. Like
it's real from what I've seen, and I'd love to hear what you guys think, but it's all about the engagement. It doesn't matter if it's a positive, negative comment or, it doesn't matter. And anytime I post on Instagram, I share my post because that counts as engagement. Even though it's my post, it doesn't make any sense, but it counts as engagement. Yeah. And if you share your post with people that will also share your post, you're just building more natural engagement. So Instagram goes, oh, this is getting shared. Let's put it on someone's explore page. That's where the luck comes into play. You only have so much force in how you abuse the algorithm.
Oh, for sure. And that, like, what's interesting about it is, Nathyn, like, obviously you opened my eyes a lot to the TikTok approach, because when I first had TikTok, it would a lot of the times be just posting something, and if it bangs, it bangs, and if it does well and gets a lot of people to reach it, then that's what it was. But what you did was, I love that you'll post the same clip multiple times, and it's more just about getting it at some point to click and for the For You page and the algorithm to push it heavy. So what I did with my stuff was, it wasn't just about posting clips for my music video one time, or when I'm doing these drum covers or guitar covers to songs, and obviously with my mic now, I'll be doing freestyles and everything. It was about, like, how many clips can I post of this, but we can do different aspects of it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you've seen it, especially Nathyn, to where I'll post just the different sections of the song, or I'll post like the text to speech introducing the song. I'll post the different areas, especially in drum covers, because there's so many different fills I like to do that have more vibrance in different areas of the song. So one thing I used to do is, I think the biggest thing I've posted on TikTok was I did a couple thousand, maybe 6,000 views. It might be at more than that now. But I did the Happier Than Ever guitar cover for Billie Eilish, and her fan base swarmed my ass. And like that one, I did so many clips of that from different angles and different ways that I executed it. Whereas in the past, I would have did that shit one time, and if it flopped, then it flops, which was a mistake. Like, you've opened my eyes to, I think, consistently being like TikTok being a lot about consistency and quantity, and then you'll see the quality in the engagement.
Yeah. Well, because that's all the platform wants, right? Like, they just want people that are going to be consistently using their platform. If you post a well-edited video every 3 weeks, it's not going to do as well as the guy that posts 3 poorly or just mediocre edited videos every day. Because the second option is bringing more eyes to the platform rather than the former.
For sure. And it feels like Instagram used to be like that, and obviously when I say Instagram is dead, it's almost, I tell people when we have those discussions too, like, I'm always like, when I say Instagram is dead, it's almost like when people will say like oil or gas is dead. Well, it can't be too damn dead if you can go to the gas station right now.
right.
Yeah.
It's always like that. But I think people will say it in like that industry because of the rise of EVs. I mean, I was just at Lenox Mall. It's the biggest mall here in Atlanta, and just electric cars everywhere, or at minimum hybrids. I mean, they're almost taking up like a third of the lot now with their charging stations and everything, which would show that gas is not dead, but it may be on the decline. So I feel like Instagram, that's why I like that we've got everybody here who's had like a wide array of how they found success and traction in music. Because you can absolutely, like you've done, still find that success on Instagram. I just feel like the majority of people, at least from what I've heard, have had a little bit tougher time finding that success, as the algorithm doesn't push as much organic activity, and it really shouldn't. When you compare it up against TikTok, TikTok is a baby in social media.
Yeah,
it was Musically 5 seconds ago, and if you told someone TikTok would be like the #1 daily downloaded app in the world probably 3 or 4 years ago, they wouldn't even know what the hell that is. So, when we're comparing it against the other social medias, it's a baby. So I don't think Instagram even needs to be in a place where they need to be pushing stuff outside of Reels, like in the organic way that TikTok is. But over the years, I have just found such minimum success on Instagram. And part of it has actually come from just like the shadow ban thing. The app is kind of daunting to use sometimes, because I almost feel like I'm at times punished or limited for even engaging and participating, which to me,
how so? What do you like? Give me an example. I don't.
Oh, I feel like every account I've ever had on Instagram has pretty much been shadow banned or my limit has been reached, even if it's amongst like my own following and people who will follow my music. Whereas, and it'll be off of things. It could be off of things such as infractions that you have no warning over, or things like that. Like one thing I used to hear a lot about was that accounts would get shadow banned for like excessive hashtag usage, which I've never seen excessive tag usage get you, limited reach on YouTube. I've never seen that limited on TikTok, at least not thus far, and I've had multiple accounts. And that's just one of those things where if it's an issue, why is it a component of the platform and why are you not telling people that? It becomes like super sleazy and it drives certain, because I like to have that discourse amongst people to see, what platforms work for them. And when I hear it about Instagram, a lot of people are pushed away because they feel it's just not user friendly anymore.
I think that they do those things that like the hashtag shadow ban you were mentioning. I don't know if you've ever like hashtagged the video to the moon and you get all the send to my DMs, share it on this page messages. Like,
oh yeah, for
those
sure.
are bots. The hashtags produce bots because people are being sleazy. And it's not Instagram directly, but it is kind of it's not managed on their platform, if that makes any sense. Like it's not, they're not intentionally doing that, so they're trying to prevent people from enabling the bots essentially.
Yeah.
So maybe that's, I'm not on Instagram a whole lot anyway. I don't engage, so we're having an entirely different experience here. You said that you engage to the point where you're getting banned, and I don't engage at all. And I've seen numbers, and you prefer other platforms. So maybe switch up your approach. TikTok's just so hard for me because I can't find the time to be consistently just consistently able to post 3 to 5 videos a day. Like what Nathyn does is insane. I don't know how long it takes, but the fact that you just have like a schedule with it is so impressive.
Honestly, all I do is every beginning of the week is I record a 10-minute video of me doing nothing. Like,
oh, right.
You guys have seen, I'll just I will record off my phone just me sitting there doing literally nothing, and then I will cut out that 10-minute clip every 10 seconds out of it, and I will move up through the entire video, right? As it goes, and then once that 10-minute runs at the very end, then I post 10-second clips out of that 10-minute video, and those are all my clips for the entire week or 2 weeks.
Would you ever like do goofy videos, like I don't know, like sit down on the toilet and sit the phone across the bathroom? Like would you ever get to the point where you start doing just dumb stuff?
I could. I've thought about it. Well, I was
like, that's the content. Like if that hit my For You page, I'm cackling.
Well, like how I was telling you earlier too. It's like Justin, Erris. So you know Justin, right? My producer friend I've worked with. Yeah. When I started doing this TikTok approach, Justin was like, absolutely do not do this. This is so stupid. Do not do this. This is not a good idea. And I was like, well, I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that it doesn't work and I just restart, right? So I'm going to just try it and just see what happens. And as soon as I started doing it, and now that it's become successful, and I realized after about the 10K mark, because I just reached over 10,000 followers, after the 10K mark, I've realized now all of my videos now get at least a couple thousands of views. And I'm doing the same. So I feel like now TikTok's recognizing, hey, this person has a ton of followers. Let's keep pushing them further. That's kind of what I feel like's now happening. But now Justin is seeing this and he's like, oh, bro, this is amazing. Like now he's like backpedaling and he's like, this is awesome. But he was talking about like putting like, because of my image being like dark and creepy and the weird videos I post on YouTube and all that, he was talking about like maybe this can be like in a brand thing, what I'm doing. Like maybe to people they're like, why is this guy just posting the same exact thing all the time? He said like maybe throw in like a really creepy clip out of nowhere, something where like something's off-putting and it has the caption still there, just a random one, you know, like make it kind of like it's purposeful. It's like all purposeful in some way, of like some psychological image or something.
I love it. I love the idea too. And I love that you brought up that point, is because that's one of my favorite parts about engaging with the platform too and watching the growth. Because for me, if you're looking at my video view count, which I try not to get too much into, I'm more about the comments and people actually converting to listening to the music and everything.
Yeah.
But when you look at my view count, it's clipping what my following is. So my for you, whatever the algorithm's doing, it's pushing it to a bigger audience than the one that I even have. So when I see, like when I first started and I didn't have that many followers and it was constantly clipping out at 50, but when I got to 100 it would clip at 80, and now I'm consistently doing 250 to 500 with 330 followers. Like that's the growth I'm talking about. So with you being at 10K and knowing you have the audience to where each time it's a couple thousand, in my mind that's a motivating factor for me as well, because I know when the growth continues to happen, I mean, who knows how much engagement it's going to be. I know it's going up proportionately. One of my biggest issues with Instagram was, sometimes my audience would grow, or these big pages will repost my music videos when I was gaining a lot of traction with my streams. But there was like a moment of plateau. And when there's a plateau, but you continue to grow to a degree, there's an eventual decline. So that was like one of my biggest issues too. But the steady growth for TikTok is just so encouraging. And I feel like everybody, you don't have to be an artist. I feel like everybody's just got a place on the platform where they got an audience they can appeal to.
Absolutely. Well, and the same thing happened to me that happened to you, Erris, with Instagram. Like, I got shadow banned too. And I initially, you guys know, we were all talking years ago. Like, both you, me, and Jordan. We were all talking around that time. And, like, I had a pretty good, consistent following on Instagram. And then all of a sudden, it just died. It just died out. Couldn't tell you why. But now anything that I post, nobody sees it. I literally have to, like, message people whatever I post. My story used to get, like, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of views a day. Now it probably only gets at most 300 to 200 views. Like, hardly anything at all. So nobody's seeing my content anymore. And I couldn't tell you why. And maybe it's because I'm not consistent about that. But like Jordan, you were saying, like, you're not super overly engaging with it either. I just, you guys kind of did the reel, and the reel really popped off for you guys. And then you guys kind of got that natural fan base from that reel. And what's funny about Jordan's story too, Erris, is like they posted the same video. What's funny, they posted the same exact video that went viral twice, and they both blew up. They both blew up, like millions of views.
The first one got 3.3 million views, and then the second one, just months later, same video, it got 4.4 million views, and it hit a totally different audience.
Yeah,
that's mental.
It's wild.
So it's not really about like who is sharing it. It's more about like the structure of the video. Because you look at a lot of like TikTok content and it's all, hey guys, today, and it's like just the traditional YouTube dumb BS. Yes. And it's just it's so cookie cutter, and we capitalized on it, and then we made a dumb joke at the end of it, and it blew up.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that it's like actual users that are producing the outcome, because we'd posted maybe 7-8 videos in between the repost, and we got like 20,000 views, which, is a lot, but in terms of what our followers were at the time, it was less than a fifth.
Yeah.
So we were only hitting such a small margin doing what like we thought was creative, original content, when all that anyone wants to see on the internet now is just brain dead, mindless content.
Yeah. And that is discouraging as a content creator as well. And that's what TikTok in a very interesting spot because with TikTok's come up at the end of 2018 and really the prominence in starting in 2019, TikTok had to be out of the youngest out of all the social medias. It had to be the melting pot of the social medias, which put it at a major disadvantage to a degree. Which I mean, it's an advantage as well. Obviously, the app's doing damn fine, so obviously it worked out fine. But it's very interesting because its users all have different approaches to how they do their content. Because since TikTok is the baby, anybody who's on TikTok either had a following or was used to posting and being active on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch, on something. And they're using the habits that they had on those platforms and doing it on TikTok and trying to see if it sticks. Some people are stuck, some people it didn't. And it's just very interesting to see all the different communities try to be effective and try to, carve out their space on TikTok because they've, it's like the platform fan base transferring, which is, very vital.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And Erris, I know you got your recording set up you got everything, right? Like you said, you got a Focusrite SM7B and you're pretty much good to go to track your own stuff. I saw you got like a shield wall for the mic and everything too on your story.
Oh, dude, I'm loving the setup. The only thing I need is a USB to MIDI cord to track these drums, because if I can't track my drums, I'm going to be pissed. So,
dude. You can find that at like Best Buy. You got that.
That's exactly what I was about to go get that $10 cord at Best Buy to go ahead and set that up so we can go ahead and get that hooked up. And then, man, I'm all set. I'm so excited to work on this next project. So setup went perfectly fine. And I imagine going to be much better than going to the studio every 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and what you said the guys there that you would go to were pretty professional. Like they worked with some bigger.
Oh, they were. So I worked with my first studio session was with Michael Shelton, and he was working at that time at Solar Sound Studio. And it's still an excellent studio. It's ran by Vance Hornbuckle, and these guys have worked with the who's who in Atlanta. Vance even had, I think, engineering or maybe even producing credits as well on T.I.'s album back in the 2000s or mixtape. So these guys have worked with a lot of talent in Atlanta that's very prominent. And I used to set up studio sessions going there all the time. Eventually, Mike got his own studio, rented out a place where they put a small studio. I don't even remember what the place was called. All I knew is I was following my favorite engineer where I had to go. So, and then I used to split time between those two studios, but putting in promotion and paying for music videos and then doing 70 an hour for being in the studio. Obviously, they cut me some slack sometimes because I was a college student and I wasn't in there bullshitting. If anybody knows me in the studio, I'll go in there to work. I'm having fun, but I go in there and get work done. But
an hour, man, I didn't even charge that, man. That's some high end money.
Oh, it is some shit. And because the sound quality was fine, and because I was getting all that traction on SoundCloud, I was really skeptical about setting up my own studio and everything. But now that I've got it set up, it's no big deal. And I guess it was something I kind of had to go through as well, to get the gist of starting to make that song creating and composition and everything and getting comfortable recording. So now I can do it at home. But
oh yeah,
it's whatever.
100%. And producing, I feel like you're gonna be able to. If there's anything that helped me a lot was I was 100% a better artist and songwriter by first learning how to produce. Because when you're put into that shoes of like songwriting and you get to hear yourself back and your takes, how many takes so you do, like, dude, like for Hate Yourself, I tracked that chorus 40 times. Like I tracked it so many times, and we just cut the best parts of me screaming my head off on that chorus. Like we just tracked it and tracked it and tracked it and tracked it. And
so that full scream isn't the same take. It's just multiple pieces of different screams.
There's harmonies, yeah. Like there's a lot of harmonies layered. I can't remember how much Justin layered that in the chorus when we tracked it, but there's like 12 layers of that screaming going on, and it was just like we were just trying to get like the best and most consistent takes, but because it's I've always been very, very critical of like what I'm putting out not only from the production standpoint, but just like the takes, the quality of the song, and just itself. Is like the songwriting good, and was this something people are going to keep replaying and replaying and replaying? And I'm always looking for that as a producer, but also just making my own music or making it for somebody else. One thing, Erris, by the way, like, I'm not even kidding you. I listen to all of your stuff that like from Bipolar, like the screaming you do on that, man, is unreal. Like it is like when I first heard you screaming like that, I was shocked. Like that was you, because like you are like so good at screaming. It's scary. Like you sound better than Scarlord to me. Like, and I'm not even just saying that. I love Scarlord.
That's a huge influence on me.
Like I love Scar. Like we both love Scar, but like you sound insane. Like you have that. I don't know what it is, man. Something about your voice with screaming, you just have that.
I know it is. I appreciate it. I don't know it. I don't know if it was just growing up and doing it so much, because I found my love, especially for like the rock elements and metal elements for music, I've told you before, being a wrestling fan, and with all the goddamn WWE theme songs that start off with like that harsh screaming, like, yeah. I guess doing it as a kid allowed my voice to really be conditioned and practice it over and over again. And I didn't know as a kid that if I would ever really release my own music, but obviously whatever went on in my upbringing, obviously it translated fairly well to being able to execute the screaming that I do on my songs, and being able to do it in a manner where like my voice isn't getting fatigued or anything like that. Definitely took some practice when I wanted to start making music with screaming. I would blow my voice out, but when I started screaming more from my gut rather than screaming directly from my vocal cords, like that really was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
So like, when did you start music, Erris?
So I started, it was crazy because my first song I released, which was Just Me, released May. Ooh, I want to get the day right because I love that song. It might have been May 4th, but of 2019, May of 2019. Okay. And I'd been writing that song for a month prior. I had so much shit that went on in my life that year. I'm a sports journalism major, and I had a sports brand on Instagram where the page had gotten deleted after close to 10,000 followers, and that gutted me. And I was just at such a low point in my life, dealing with heartbreak and a number of different things that were stressing me out, to where I was like, I kind of just want to put out music as, a therapy option, if anything else.
Yeah.
So that was where it kind of started for me. It was with Just Me. I remember everybody from my high school, because I'd been off the internet, which wasn't like me. I don't want to say I was like, well, I kind of was known, because then if people start looking this up after the podcast, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? He was a homecoming king. But like, I was kind of known in high school pretty much, and I'd gotten off the internet because my life was just not in the direction I wanted it to be in. And that was probably for about 4 months, and I came back and dropped that, and just Me got 30,000 on the music video in the first week and a half. And
nice.
At that point, I was like, let me just keep going with it. Broken was the second song I dropped that summer. That had 100,000 views by the end of the summer, mid-fall. And, I just kept going from there. I've been playing drums since I was apparently 1.5. I cannot believe that when my mom tells me, but I'm just going to go with it. And I only started playing guitar in 2019, 2020 during the pandemic.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet, dude.
That's awesome. And Just Me is an incredible song, man. That's on my shuffle on Spotify, and it will pop up randomly for me.
I always want to ask you I want to ask both of you, but do you guys ever have like that one song that you've made where you're like, and I hate limiting myself like this as a creator, but I think it's more sentimental with me. I think Just Me will probably always be my favorite song that I made, because when you look at just my story of how I got into music and the lyrics of the song, the music video, how it was shot, every element is like you can't start a musical journey any better than that for me. So I feel like just out of sentimental value, it's my favorite song. But do you guys ever have like that one song that you guys have both, created where you're like, man, it's going to be some shit topping that, or at least, I don't know if I'll have a more favorite song that I've created.
Well,
man, go ahead if you got one.
Oh, I mean, definitely for me, I would, I have a lot of songs out, but I would say Always Want to Die for sure. And I was telling Jordan earlier, like that song too was in a really, really low place for me as well. Like I was like in a 2 week struggle of like I could barely sleep. I was having really bad, not just everything. I lost my job and had sleep paralysis, terrible, and like just was it was legitimately like at the lowest I ever felt in my life. I thought I was straight up gonna die at any point. And it was like a 2 week time span, and I put on this dude's beat because something I do, and I still do it, is like I'll go on YouTube and I'll just look up type beats, and I'll listen to whatever kind of beat. I'll listen to like an X beat, or I'll listen to Juice World, or some new artist, or metal, or rock. I'll just listen to someone else's beats because I want to like hear what they're doing, like just as a reference. Maybe I won't like it, but it's just kind of like a way of inspiring you. And I put on this dude's beat that I found on YouTube, and I can't remember the producer's name, but as soon as it came on, the chorus for Always Wanna Die just hit me. I just heard and my time is running out, but I'm still, like, immediately, as soon as it dropped. And so I, like, got my gear, got the SM7B, got my Cloud Lifter Focusrite, plugged everything in, and just, I tracked it out. And I didn't really think anything of it, and then me and Justin, we were hanging out while I was working at More Sound Studio, and I showed him it, and he was just like, dude, we gotta, this is amazing. He's like, we gotta track this. And I was just like, okay. I was like, well, let's do it. And so we retracked it, and then he remade the entire beat. And I kind of like helped him like put it together, but it was nothing like the guy's beat originally. The original beat was very chill. It was actually really, really chill. And Justin was like, let's make this like really in your face, and like the kick blown out and the 808 just huge. Let's just make it sound insane. And I was like, all right. And so we did that and released that. But that was the song too for me. And once I released that as well, man, I was like, man, how am I going to top this? Because afterwards I tried rewriting like the same formula that I use for Always Want to Die, short verses, very short chorus, and I would try it in different keys, slightly different BPMs, making it slower, quicker, and try different chorus melodies, try different verses, but none of it ever felt like it was better than Always Want to Die ever. Like,
to all the people, I just want to say that Nathyn knows that was the exact fucking song with How I Met Nathyn, goddammit.
Yeah.
The exact song. He knows I am a fanboy of that song. I've been for years. We met through a mutual friend who put me onto his music, and I was at a point, I was so busy. And I remember she put me on, she was like, oh, there's this guy I met, his name's Nathyn, he's gonna help me with my stuff. And she sent me I think she sent me your Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was sending me Instagram first. And I remember I was like, man, I gotta check out somebody else's music because everybody wanted me to check out their music at that time. I was like, God damn. I was like, let me just listen to him real quick. Let me see what he's even doing. And I just remember listening to that first, dude. You remember, I hit you up in the comments first. I was like, holy shit. I could not believe that song was like that. And then Nathyn checked out my stuff. I think the first thing that you commented on was when I did the Mania freestyle. And you were blown away by that, and then the rest is history.
Dude, Mania.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember checking that out, and that was at a time where I was like releasing still a bunch of music, but I didn't get anywhere. And Always Want to Die was my first ever success song, and then like, but yeah, man, I listened to Mania and I was just blown away by like just how incredible of a rapper you are, but the image, everything, and what you were doing, the songwriting. And so it was just really, really cool. And we like clicked instantly from there. And then I sent you Ghost, and at first I didn't really know what to think of it, but then you sent back those verses so fast, and they were just fire. Like all those takes were just incredible. Like every single, the way you enunciated everything, just awesome.
Such a fun song to make. Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah,
love that fucking.
Ghost is so dope. It's funny because like my cousin, ever since I moved back to Kansas, my cousin's like, you know what song I play all the time? I play Ghost still. And he like listens to your music too, Erris, because he's just like, dude, he's pretty dope. And I was like, yeah, man, he's great. And like, so it's awesome, man. But yeah, I think Always Want to Die was my like one I never felt like I could top. But then until Hate Yourself, and I feel like Hate Yourself is in its own way, it tops Always Want to Die. Like they're even to me. But they're both two very different songs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
hard, man. It's hard. It's very difficult, and I always feel like it's hard to try to compare your best songs, and trying to outdo yourself. It's definitely a difficult task always. I have like a folder of probably like 80 songs that are all just duds. Like you could listen to them and you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool, or that's all right there, but they're not worth releasing though,
Yeah. I don't know that I've got a a song like that, but I say we, I wrote this album with an old friend, and we never got to release it. And I'm not a big producer guy, and I can't contribute a lot aside from ideas and the drums. That's all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got fed up with not being able to, put in the same amount of effort to the music. So I came up with more of a story concept. And the concept of it is it's loosely based on like mental health, and just almost like mental health was fabricated in a lab.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where the story was, and the whole album was kind of structured. They were two separate entities, but they were structured around each other, and they worked in ways that meshed really well. And that things went south, and that album will probably never see the light of day ever. But I do hope the story gets to, and that story kind of saved my life in a weird way. And at the same time, it's a bittersweet feeling. It's like that'll never get to see the light of day. It'll never be able to be shared the way I hoped it did. But I will only forever be the only person to have like the true meaning of that story. So it's kind of like a cool reward in a weird way. So it's not necessarily music, but it was a product of music. Yeah. So it's probably my coolest accomplishment that no one will ever get to see.
Funny story. One of these songs that I'm actually working on now, I've retracked, I want to say probably 40 times. It's, dude, like,
that's a lot.
And it's just because Justin is just so critical. And like, well, it's funny. I was telling Jordan earlier too, like, Soul, right? Erris, the song I showed you guys in the chat. Justin doesn't want me to release Soul. He doesn't think it's a good idea. He doesn't think I should release that.
I need it.
Yeah, like I told him like the most important thing is still follow your like own intuition. And I told him like, look, I feel like I want to release this kind of vibe, like a very slow indie pop, somber vibe, and just see how that goes in comparison to Hate Yourself. But this new song that I've been tracking, that's called Poison, and it's a really, really dope song. It's got like a drill beat and like a metal breakdown, and I have retracked this thing so many times. I mean, I first was tracking it with my buddy, my buddy Aaron at More Sound Studio in New York. I tracked it. All those vocal files got corrupted. We lost all of them. And then I had to retrack it again. And then Justin was like, dude, your mic sucks. You need to get a better mic. And I'm just like, and so now it's such a good song. Like, it's so cool. It's like so dope. But it's hard. Like sometimes, and then I question in my head, like, well, should I release this now? I mean, I've tracked it so many times at this point. It's just kind of like, but I get like that though. I have to be like really into it in the moment and inspired by it to do incredible vocals. Like I have to be like 100% in that headspace. Like Always Want to Die, when I retract those vocals, I was like really, really not good. Kind of like how you did Just Me, Erris. It's kind of like you feel that feeling in that moment. And I'm kind of like that way. I have to be really into it at that very moment to get incredible takes. Even with Hate Yourself, I was like that,
Do you guys find yourself like where you write the best? I think this is like a stigma with most artists, but I was just curious if you guys have this. Like, do you have to be in like the worst headspace to make your best art?
And I used to feel like that because all of my first project, which is where I really gained a lot of traction and was able to get into the big playlists and get a lot of eyes on me. A lot of that is just sad as shit. Like it's not a happy album like at all until the end. The reason why it'll probably always be my favorite project is because it's 7 songs where it starts very sad, has 2 flashback songs that are more upbeat, goes back to being sad, and then is very uplifting at the end. And over the course of writing that, there was a lot of moments where I was like, man, my best writing are in these moments of heartache and like these moments of grief and sadness and depression. And then I got to my song Crush, which was like a Valentine's Day hit, like on my campus and some of the local like colleges here in Atlanta. And it helped me get like 500,000 streams on that because I wrote that when I was feeling good as hell. I had this one girl I was really feeling, and I was like, I soared. I had that beat for a while. The beat was from a producer named Jacobson on YouTube, and the original beat was a Shiloh Dynasty sample that he'd done probably 3 million streams on, but he still wanted to sell it as a tight beat to one person. And I was like, dude, I got this song for this that I wrote, and I was like, if you're still selling this beat, dude, I would do anything to get this. And he was like, that's fine, and he was so down to give me the commercial rights to that. And that was one that I wrote when I was feeling really well. Pursuit, when I was feeling really well. Nathyn loves Valor with the screamo and everything. I was feeling really well on Valor. So I would say early on, I had to be in a pretty bad headspace and like these really sorrow-filled moments of my life to really pull out those pockets of greatness in my lyricism and everything. But it's changed where I've been able to be really inspired as well by like the happier, more uplifting moments in my life in order to create really good art as well.
It's interesting to hear like another perspective because I would definitely consider myself a pessimist. So I find myself in those headspaces pretty often, but I haven't made anything as good as as that album that I had mentioned that is never going to come out. And that album, I said it saved my life. I had to, you can imagine I had to be in a tough state in order to talk that way about it. Yeah. But it was in the middle of COVID. Everyone was inside. And I got to tell a story that it felt suffocating. So I haven't been able to make anything that's felt that passionate or that exciting since then, because my life has been going better in terms of how happy I've been. So I was just curious.
Yeah, it's hard. I would say a lot of it definitely stems for me in an emotional way. And it's not because I want it to be that way. I feel like, though, it's just like, I don't know, a lot of my vocals are just like very, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's different for everybody for sure, and it depends on the vibe and the mood of the song, for sure. Like Hate Yourself, I feel like I wasn't sad when I made that song. I felt like it was kind of like, Hate Yourself to me is an uplifting song. Like it's not supposed to be like a negative song, even though I choose the worst titles. but like, like it's an uplifting song though. It's about like getting over somebody that really screwed you over. And I Always Want to Die is just really down in the dumps, very negative. But like, when I made F You Better, it wasn't like I was sad. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, so it's just kind of like, it's just different. And the different vibes that I tend to go for, or whatever that I'm feeling, whether it's the really dark and serious stuff, or if it's more like slower and chill R&B. Soul, even this recent one, I would say I wasn't sad. I felt more lost than anything.
Yeah.
Lately, my feelings and a lot of the music I've been writing lately has been about feeling lost, because I just moved to Kansas. I'm about to go to school here, and I'm still pursuing producing. But at a certain point, where my mental is right now is I feel very lost, and I don't know. And soul is kind of like that that representation, I mean, of feeling like I don't know where I'm going, and I hope I can find it, or whatever.
Have you noticed like an abundance of music come from that the situation? Like, are you writing more songs in Kansas than you were in New York?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And because I was producing for a lot of people in New York, and when you're producing for people, it's really hard to work on your own music because it sort of drains your, like mental artist capacity. I would like have like 4 sessions a day, and whether I liked their music or not, I would just be so burnt out and exhausted. I would literally want to hear nothing. Like, I just didn't want to hear anything all day because my head just was like, couldn't process it. And I just was like, okay, well. So, but ever since I've been to Kansas, it's been really chill now, and it's been like different. I only have 2 clients that I've so far met here, and they're from the college, and they're both rappers. I'm getting this one kid in here, I think next weekend, that does like rock music. He's really cool, named Trevor. And
That's dope.
And I think my main feeling of a lot of the new music I'm releasing now is about not necessarily where I'm going in life and feeling lost. Even the ignorant stuff, even the stuff that's really aggressive, is kind of what's been motivating and driving a lot of my feelings in new music. Because I don't feel like suicidal, or I don't feel like depressed anymore, hardly. It's more just like sometimes I get down, but it's like I don't quite know if what I'm doing is the right thing, If that makes sense.
I get that.
Yeah, I feel like everyone gets like that in some point of their life, and not knowing if what they're doing makes any sense at all. And so, and
it doesn't help that you're just like in a totally new environment where you may or may not know more people than you did. It's just an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, I absolutely don't know very many people. I just try to help my Nana and Pa. But man, I haven't seen them in like a decade. I haven't seen them in a long time. So it's like just such a weird, almost surreal kind of feeling of like where I'm at now. And I still miss New York in a lot of ways, because I missed being at the studio and I missed having my clients. But at the same time, I feel like me coming here and transitioning to go to school is been the right thing overall. I don't know. I couldn't see what I was going to end up doing besides that in New York, and I could still move to New York. I would honestly like to move to Georgia, probably after I get done with school, but just deciding or what's going to go on. I've noticed it's very easy for me to write for other people. I can write music for other people all day. Like, for example, Addie, my girlfriend, I recorded her song called You and I, which was actually my song originally, but I took it down. I uploaded it on YouTube and I called it Don't Steal My Donut. And I don't know if you guys remember me doing that.
I remember you asking me if that was funny. Yeah. I do remember that.
So I uploaded it and I literally took it down like immediately because I knew it was just kind of a joke. But when I did You and I, it wasn't that I didn't think it was cool. I just didn't resonate with it. And I originally wrote it for this one girl that was in New York, and she never ended up taking it. She didn't pay me for the song. And so Addie heard it, and she was like, "Are you ever going to release you that song?" And I was like, "No." I was like, do you want it? I'll just give it to you. And she was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm never going to release that thing." And she was like, "Okay." And so we tracked it while I was in Valdosta and down in Georgia there. And then she released it, and she has an incredible voice. I mean, she can sing up and down.
Absolutely.
So it was, I've wrote for a lot of other people though.
That's so interesting that that you feel like you've found a little bit more ease in writing for others. I feel like it's always easier to write for me, but I cannot write like melodies and hooks for the most part for other people. But I could write a verse with ease for just about any other rapper, maybe other than Kendrick, Cole, and Eminem, because they outdo anything, and their style's too hard to execute. I don't care how much people shit on Eminem's kind of formulaic style now. It's still hard. It's extremely hard to replicate for commercials.
Like it's Eminem, dude. Like,
yeah, you're not gonna replicate. You can meme it, but that's not the same as replicating it. For that Billboard chart-topping success. But it's like with Nathyn, when we did Ghost, I wrote my verses and executed them as if I was gonna write that for someone who was on a major label. Like in my mind, geez, I don't even know who I was really trying to channel at that time. Obviously me, but I wrote it as if I was an artist at a major label and someone would come to me for my first feature, because it was my first feature doing that for someone's song. So that's how I wrote that. I almost wrote it as if it was for somebody else and I was doing the demo for it. But I don't think I've ever found more ease in trying to write for someone else. And if it was, it would only kind of be in verses.
That's such an interesting mindset too.
I definitely couldn't do it for rapping. I could definitely do it for like anything singing, anything like that, 100%. But when it comes for rapping, absolutely not. Like, to a point, I probably could, but not really well done like you can do, Erris. Like, really, really well done. Like, so hooks and melodies have always come really naturally to me. One of my biggest, he's actually a big TikToker. You guys can look him up. He's a dick, though. His name's John Dretto. He's a famous TikToker that has like 4 million views. 4 million followers. I mean, he's like huge. He's massive. He's a guitar player. And he was from Rochester, New York, which was about an hour away from Syracuse from me. And Justin messaged me and he said, "Hey, this kid that's TikTok famous wants to come in and record. And he doesn't know how to write a song." And he was like, he'll pay you to come in to write his music. And I was like, all right, I'm down. And so I went in and met him, and he was just not a great guy. He was but I didn't really care. He was paying me to write his music. So I was
right.
Okay, so me and Justin just sat down, and he never did vocals or anything. We probably spent like 8 hours straight on the one song just for him to track vocals. And
wow.
Just to get it down, we had to change the key a bunch and stuff so it could fit his voice better. But I wrote for him, and now he's released his music as John Dretto, but I've wrote those songs. Like, I wrote all of
Interesting.
those. And I just have...
Are you credited?
Yeah, I'm credited and everything. I have a royalty
okay.
on it. And what was funny is, like, he still tries hitting me up, this John Dretto kid. Like, he tries messaging me, and he's like, "Bro, man, I want to work with you some more. Let's get together." But he's just, like, he's just such a dick, dude. Like, he's just not a good guy. Like, he's just, like... And I don't say that lightly. Like, I've worked with a lot of really rough people, right? He's just like, it's something that's like, "Look, dude, like, you're either going to pay me and I'll write like whatever you want me to write." But when I went in mind, and John Dretto was like, okay, he's like, "Well, I want to have a guitar solo in the bridge," because he plays the guitar, which makes sense. And I was like, all right, so you want to have a guitar solo? And I was like, what audience are we trying to fit this in? And he looks like Shawn Mendes, so I was like, okay, well, let's try to make it like pretty friendly to listen to, but it will appeal to like teen girls, but it'll appeal to mainstream people, And
Oh, that's his lane. Should
That's
be.
his lane. Yeah, that's his lane, exactly. And when I'm going in mind for writing for somebody else, it's like that's how I'm thinking is like, well, who is this song going to appeal to? And you want to have a guitar solo.
Right.
So, and you're also going to sing this song. So we got to make sure you can sing it, and we also got to write it to where it fits this demographic. Because most of his demographic is like just teen girls. And so I was like, okay. And so, but that was a fun experience, even though I don't really like him, but it was like, getting to be able to do that in a royalty split with him it's made me a lot of money for sure. I can't say it hasn't, but, and so getting the opportunity though to work with more people and their music, I've always just loved producing, man. I'm a producer first, then I am an artist. 100%. I just love producing, and I love making songs for other people and making them just sound dope,
Yeah. I've never tried writing for anyone else, but it sounds fun. It's interesting hearing you guys talk about it and the struggles and the ease.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think, Erris, do you have any plans this evening, or are you just chilling at home?
Finals week. I'm about to crank out some homework. Enjoy sleep while I can get that shit in, and then other than that, I kind of work on this new project and start tracking some stuff here tonight. So might do a little bit of that, but I'm kind of freestyling, I guess, the rest of my night.
Sweet, dude.
Anything you can send me, just shoot it over to me, and I'll definitely start mixing on it. Like, even if you just get one song done, then I'll start going through it and let you know what I think.
I was talking to Nathyn before you got in here. He said that you play guitar. I haven't heard you play guitar, but I was like, what if we did like an online internet band?
Oh, dude, that could be
it's like a collaborative thing. Just every so often we throw some shit together.
Right, that could be insane, dude. I'd actually like to be a part of that. That's pretty cool.
Maybe we try that.
I'm down.
Yeah, man. That's a crazy idea.
Yeah, man. Well, we've been going on for quite a while, so I think we'll cut the podcast here. Let me see. Yeah, we've been running about an hour and 20. So, yeah, I'll cut it here. And
it didn't feel like that.
Right, went by quick.
Yeah, it flies by when you're talking, for sure. But this isn't going to be like an overly consistent thing. I'll just hit you guys up every once in a while and see if you guys want to just hop on. And I'll upload these to YouTube. If you guys want to check them out, I'll send you links to the channel. And I'll probably put like some video over it. I'm just going to keep the audio and just like have some like chill.
Yeah, just do like GTA content.
Right.
And then, because then you can put it on TikTok and it'll go viral.
Right.
Bro, we should make an alpha male podcast, just like talk about crazy shit, like conspiracy theories.
Dude, the value of a high value man and how women can appeal to their husbands. I love it. Andrew Tate.
Dude, we're just saying like the most horrendous shit. Like crazy stuff, like the entire time.
Hey,
like,
dude,
bro, if Hitler was alive,
it really can't get worse.
Guy in the world.
It can't get worse than what Kanye's doing right now,
dude.
No, honestly.
Yeah, Erris, when you post that on your story, I was like, oh my god, like holy shit, dude. Kanye is.
It's batshit crazy. I feel like every time I look at my phone, it's just some new shit. I might delete the internet just because of Kanye West. And I'm trying to keep in mind the childhood hero that he was for me. I'm like, dude, he made Graduation. He made My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But he is just he's pushing my shit. I can't.
He's so
oh man.
I love him too. It just sucks. He's like just in such a bad state right now, man. But
I know it, dude. Oh my goodness.
But we'll end it here though and get together next time and we can talk about like maybe some ideas if you guys want to like review an album or I don't.
Dude, for sure. I'd be so down. We could do like a listening track by track thing, like albums we've
Yeah.
never heard.
We can just all
I love
on
it.
computers and just check out and give like our opinions of it, because we all have such versatile opinions and come from different backgrounds. You both are drummers, but Erris is like a rapper and singer and can scream too. Like, so it's, and I feel like it's just dope. But I really enjoyed doing this with you guys, and
Yeah, it was super fun.
I didn't really know how it would go, to be completely honest. So I was just kind of winging it here, but it was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Went smooth.
What were you saying?
Oh, went smooth.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. So we can all get back together, and I'll talk to you all soon, though.
All right, man. See you guys.
Sorry, guys. I'll see you guys later.
See ya. Take it easy.